Bronwyn Hannah has 3 children and, like many parents, she's worried about what they might see on the internet. Images of violence and pornography are her main concern.
It's a gamble as to what can come up, that some of the images that can freely pop up on the internet without protection are exploitative, there might be non-consensual sex.
Bronwyn Hannah has little time for those who argue that the internet should not be censored. She says that protecting children is more important than arguments about free speech.
Now, when we go to the library, we don't expect that there's going to be violent images or images that are harmful to children lying around.
Last night, the Communications Minister, Stephen Conroy, was forced to defend the government's push for internet filter trials.
What our filtering is aimed at, and has only ever been aimed at, is material under the Broadcast Servicing Act classification, the Censorship Board classifications. So it's quite clear what the material we're referring to.
The online activist group Get Up is often in line with Labor Party policy. But this time Get Up has sided with the majority of the Australian internet industry, which is firmly opposed to any ISP-level filter.
Well, it's clear that on this issue, the federal government are swimming away from the tide and against public opinion.
A Galaxy phone poll commissioned by Get Up surveyed 1,100 people. When asked who should have primary responsibility for ensuring that children do not view inappropriate content on the internet, 86% of respondents said parents, 5% said internet service providers, and 4% said the government. But Christian lobby groups are quick to point out that other polls show that parents are concerned about children using the internet, and there's widespread support for a filtered internet feed.
Certainly, a Australia Institute study done through Newspoll showed that 93% of parents of children from 12 to 17 would want to see, as you could understand therefore, automatic filtering of the internet.
But it's the consequences of filtering the internet which has Get Up and the internet industry concerned.
One thing we know about the Rudd government's plan, the draft plan at this stage, is that it will either drastically slow down the internet or overblock a large number of sites. Either way, that's bad for business.
The internet industry has horror stories about government filters around the world.
One was in relation to Wikipedia, where an entry on Wikipedia, a single entry on Wikipedia, in fact, resulted in the entire of Wikipedia being blocked.
There's also criticism from the internet industry that most of the service providers taking part in the government trials are too small.
It makes the technology trial a tractable problem, something which is small enough to be able to get some results. But it doesn't demonstrate scaling, and scaling is actually the fundamental problem here.
Australia's biggest ISP, Telstra, is not taking part in the trials. Optus is prepared to take part, but is concerned about the potential impact on internet performance.
We are absolutely committed to criminal activity being stopped. I guess what we really want to understand, though, is what cost does that come, and how do you actually affect the network, and how do you actually set the systems up to make that work effectively?
The Communications Minister, Stephen Conroy, is refusing media interviews about the internet filter, which will cost taxpayers $40 million. The opposition says the filter won't work and is an expensive grab for votes.
I think this was a promise which Labor made in the campaign simply to attempt to sort of outmanoeuvre us for the Conservative vote.
Some internet service providers, like the Adelaide-based WebShield, believe that a mandatory government filter will work.
If things are engineered correctly, if the right technology is applied, then there's no reason why there should be any degradation to performance whatsoever.
But the majority of the internet industry want parents to filter the internet at home. However, parents like Bronwyn Hannah are sceptical about the ability of families to manage home computers without bigger filters provided by the internet service providers. She believes that Senator Conroy has got it right.
Plenty of people don't have filters on their internet. Many of my friends don't have filters on the internet. That's not because they're slack parents or they don't care about their children. It's just that they're busy. They might not know about the technology. They haven't got round to it.
There are months of internet filter trials ahead. The federal government says it will rely on evidence from the trials to decide whether parents or internet service providers will be responsible for protecting children online. John Stewart, Lateline.